welcome back, everybody. I can't believe it's Wednesday and we're just now having our first late night with Dr. Kojo live of the week. But it's been that type of week for me, so I appreciate your attention. For those of y'all who are watching from all over the world, it means a lot. And I want to go ahead and introduce myself. Like you all know how we do it every show. My name is Kojo. I'm checking in from, what once was sunny Los Angeles, California, but it's late now. It's a legitimate late night show. So my name is Kojo. I'm checking in from sunny Los Angeles, California, and I would love to know where you all are checking in from. So use the comment section to let me know where you all are checking in from, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I know I see y'all following, and it's an interesting topic tonight. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. We have May from Minnesota. May, what's going on? Lauren says, how did you plan this for a couple of days after I got cheated on? Perfect timing. Oh, Lauren, Mickey Ficky, I'm sorry that might be another story for another day, Lauren. That might be for like a TikTok live to figure out what happened. But I'm sorry that happened to you. Legitimately sorry. Jessica from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Alice from Miami, Florida. Ben, I appreciate your attention. Thank you so much. Huntsville, Arkansas, Miami, North Dakota, Lansing, Michigan, Alabama, Missouri, Augusta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Texas, Canada, California again, Anchorage, Alaska. Wow, someone saying going on 6 years of infidelity issues. Okay, I'm sorry that's been your experience, and hopefully, we can only control ourselves, right? But hopefully, things are getting better for you some way, somehow. Let's see. Jay, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the love coming from everybody. Tennessee from the home team. Awesome. I found out 12 days ago he was cheating. I'm hurting. All right, so let me talk about where this topic is coming from. A guy, I saw the DM this morning, so I'm not sure when this guy messaged me, because I don't really look at the times of when people DM me. It's just a lot of DMs, but a guy messaged me this morning, or I read it this morning. He said something along the lines of, "I just found out I was cheated on," and then he wrote a couple of other things, and obviously I'm not going to reveal, too much, because I don't want to make it about one guy who got cheated on by his girl, because people are talking in the comment section, and I know a lot of people can relate to it. So I'm going to keep it very surface level, not a girl cheating on a guy or a guy cheating on a girl, just what to do after you find this out, because this, I would call this is traumatic, right? You have like a lot of mini traumas that can happen to you. Like you have small traumas and you have like bigger traumas, and depending on what happened, on if you're married or this circumstance, like it could be a big thing for you. But beyond the cheating, right? If you take away the cheating, it's somebody that you loved, somebody that you trusted who betrayed you, which that's gonna sting. Whether it happened to you 5-10 years ago, and you think about it today, that type of thing will always sting. So the way we process these things are important. And as long as we can go through it, not around it, I feel like we can, put ourselves in a better position to take care of other future issues, and that's going to come our way. Because whether it's somebody cheating on you or whatever the case may be, bad things will happen. So we have to know how to be able to adapt, right? And how to control the one person that we can control, which is ourselves, right? So we're going to get into it. And Beth says, if they cheat, know your worth, queen, let them go. Beth, so I'm a little bit confused, because what if it's a girl who cheated on a guy? You said know your worth, queen, as if it's always the guy cheating. All right, I'm not gonna. All right, I'm just messing with you, Beth. But let me get into the list. Right, these are 3 things that should somebody betrays you and cheats on you. 3 things that I would say would be good to do. Not medical advice or anything, but this is just my tips. So I wrote down 3 things for you all, and I want to start off with the number 1 thing right here, right? So thing is very traumatic. So Tish, I would not go as far as saying that cheating is a disorder. But maybe I've been dancing on TikTok for too long. Maybe the DSM-5 has changed, but I don't think cheating by itself. I don't think it's a disorder. But I do think it is traumatic for people on both ends. So I agree with that first part of the statement. I really do agree with that. What if you accidentally cheated? Was that Sherry? Sherry? Uh, uh, So Sherry, I don't know if you're new to this show or this platform, but we do our best to be transparent. And I didn't know accidental cheating was a thing, but I mean maybe that was your experience or somebody else's experience. But okay, okay. Hey. I'm I'm learning every day, right? I'm learning every day. Um, yeah, two marriages I was cheating on. Jeremy, I'm very sorry to hear that. My ex partner admitted their infidelities on my Mickey Ficky on my birthday. This is after we had broken up and I had come to terms with it. He became incredibly upset that I continue to enjoy my dating arranged. Well, all right. So, Jasmine, I think we need a whole show to like take care of like this situation. It looks like it's a lot that was going on here, but at the end of the day, like it looks like a good storyline that's made for like a Hollywood script. But I mean, this is somebody's trauma, and this is what did happen to you. So I am sorry that this happened. And hopefully you'll be able to process it in a positive way, right? All right. So number one, here's the number one thing that I want you to do if somebody cheats on you, and these are not in any particular order, right? But in my opinion, I feel like this is the most important one, right? So I'm going to give you all the most important one off the rip, but these are in any particular order. But number one, understand that their actions are not a reflection of who you are. This is extremely important because I think if so today we're talking about somebody cheating on you, right? If you find out that, or let me talk from my perspective. Let's say I find out, let's say I'm dating a girl and I find out that she's been sleeping with somebody else, right? The first thing that you feel is hurt, right? Then anger, then pain, and then you're trying to process it. And a natural human question to ask is, what is it about me that was not enough, right? Whether you say that verbally to your partner or whether you think that out loud, you might think to yourself like was I not enough, or like where is this coming from? And I mean, whatever we have to do to process something, that's fine. Like that's a natural question I think anybody will ask, whether you're a Dr. Kojo or a Dr. Phil. I don't know, whoever is like the top, thought leader within this space. But it's important to understand that somebody's actions, whether it's cheating or whatever, somebody's actions is not a reflection of who you are. That's very important to understand because sometimes like people get to the game of trying to learn more about who their partner cheated with. I don't know if there's any benefit to that. It might be cathartic, but sometimes you can't really like answer why somebody cheated and betrayed you, right? There's just no answer to it, you know? And it can be frustrating when our brain wants to fill in the gaps and then we're trying to say, oh no, it's because I'm doing this, or maybe I was a little bit too much, or I was here, or I was there, or maybe I wasn't paying attention to my partner, or maybe I wasn't like, doing things based on their love language. Whatever the case is, none of those things are a reason to cheat, right? And it's funny because outside of like the professional world, if I'm just talking to you all as Kojo, my thoughts have really evolved on this topic as I've gotten older. And I'm not a perfect person by any means, but the, behind cheating is like a betrayal, which makes the cheating unacceptable. Whether it's kissing somebody or holding hands or sleeping with them, that betrayal is the part that hurts. It's like having a good friend, right? Like the way I would describe cheating to somebody who doesn't think it's a big deal is, let's say my favorite football team is playing on TV, right? And it's the Titans, but let's say I'm in LA, so let's say the Rams, right? Let's say the Rams are playing on TV, and I'm rooting for the Rams, right? And the quarterback of the Rams throws the ball to the other team on purpose. Like you throw it to the other team on purpose, and they go score. You just let them score. Like you just betrayed your own teammates. Like you look around and in your head, you're probably gonna say like WTF, right? Like what did you do? I look at cheating the same way. Like you betrayed somebody that you care about, and that's worse than whatever the cheating was. And in my opinion. Let me get some more feedback from people before I go into the second thing. Am I in therapy? I have been in therapy. It's been very helpful. I found that after 8 years. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sex addiction, sexual trauma, sexual predators. Uh, so, Lenise, what I'll say about this is, it, I mean, this is just trauma in general, right? I think it's important to process trauma, whether it's like sexual trauma or whatever the case may be. It's important to process these things because it's kind of like, like a cloud that hangs over your head. If you don't take care of it at one point, like it'll come back and affect you in another area of your life later on, or it can. You can see that happen. I changed the door locks and kissed a 20-year relationship goodbye. Single 5 years accountant. And sorry to hear that was your experience, and I hope that you're more at peace now. How do you trust in your relationship after you've been cheated on in almost every relationship you've had? Well, actually, in my opinion, I think if this has been your experience, the first thing that I would do is I would probably try and get professional help. And not to say that it's a bad thing, but to try and take care of yourself and put yourself in positions where, I mean, you can't, you cannot like guarantee that somebody will never cheat on you again, right? But you want to do the work so that way, should something bad happen, like it's not going to shake you to your core, right? If that makes sense. But even you asking this question shows that like you're already thinking about how to make yourself better. So I have full confidence that you're gonna make that change for yourself. And let me get to the second thing that you should do should somebody cheat on you. This one is also quite important in my opinion. But real quick, someone says I like to believe that people can change, including cheater. Do you agree? I agree. The phrase people say once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't agree with that phrase personally. But I do think that in order for somebody to change, they have to be motivated like internally. Like it can't just be like some. I mean, it could be external factors, but you're gonna have to want. You're gonna have to have somewhat of a desire to change yourself, right? To pull up that change. Right. The person may change, but for me, I couldn't trust him again. So for me, I'm with Lauren. But then again, I don't know. I've not been in this position before, unless, like I said on Instagram, unless one of my exes comes to tell me that they cheated on me or whatever. In that case, I'm like, sure, that's cool, whatever. But I don't think I could trust again. But then again, you just never know, and we have to see, right? The second thing that you should do, should this happen to you, is you want to take time to know what you want to do. And this is important, and this is important with anything, right? Anytime something happens to us, even if it's good, right? Like you want to process it, but you don't want to be too impulsive, right? So should something like this happen, you don't want to like go ahead and jump and say, okay, like that's it. I'm going to break up with the person, right? Now that might be what you end up doing eventually. I feel like most people who go on this path, your good relationship, you find that something happened and they cheated on you. I don't know about most, but a good majority of people will decide to like leave a relationship, and I think that's fine, right? You have to have the right to do what you want to do, but it's important to take the time to figure out what you want to do, right? You're having a lot of people in your ear, like you're having your friends saying, like somebody was alluding to earlier, like leave him, sis, or whatever the case is, But even then, you don't want to like let your friends make your decisions for you. Like, what do you want to do, right? And that might take some time. That might take you going to get professional help, talking to a therapist, maybe a couple of therapists, right? Because sometimes we don't hit on the very first one that we, seek out. Maybe you want to tap into your local pastor, right? Maybe if you're a Christian, get some counsel from the people that you trust. Talk to your parents and other people that you trust, and see what to do. And maybe even if you want to talk to your partner, and I do think I didn't include this as one of my points because I didn't want to argue tonight, right? Like it's a late night show, but like it's a late night show. I didn't want to argue tonight, but I do think that should somebody cheat on you, it would be helpful for you to forgive them, right? Like I believe that, but I didn't include it as one of my points because I don't want to tussle tonight. But if you can get to the point where you can forgive them, keep in mind that the forgiveness is for you; it's not for them, right? It's liberating, like to like be upset at somebody. It's an active thing. Like you're actively taking time and energy an emotion to like hate that person for what they did to you, right? So now they have done what they've done to you, and they're just living their life, and they're not worried about anything else. And then you're sitting there preoccupied by, the thought of, oh, I can't believe that 2 years ago this person did this to me, right? So if you forgive, right, you liberate yourself of all of that like weight, right? Like I think that could be a helpful thing to do. But let's say you forgive them, right? You may forgive and choose to leave. Like that's a perfectly acceptable thing, right? And I don't want people to think that you have to forgive and stay. No, like you can forgive and say I'm out. Like you can check up the deuces, play some Chris Brown and dip out if you like. You have that right, in my opinion. But I do think that the forgiveness is for you. But there will be some time, you'll have that refractory period where you have to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Like your family's telling you this, and your partner is saying, oh, I won't cheat again, or this is the last time, whatever they're saying. But it's important to just take some time and just breathe, right? And this is something that I'm actively doing. Not that anybody's cheated on me, but I'm taking the time in my fast life here in LA to just to breathe and to be mindful and to stay in the present and to make sure that the things that I'm doing, I want to do, from whatever business project to the videos that I post here on Facebook and YouTube and wherever. I want to make sure that whatever message I'm trying to put out there, I'm very intentional with it, right? So should something happen and, a partner cheats on you, it'd be very helpful to just take some time to figure out, what do you want to do, right? Not what like, you might come and ask, say, Dr. Dakota, what should I do? Like, I mean, I can, like, if we're on the live, this is the best place for me to like give my thoughts and feedback. But even then, like, what do you want to do, right? Sometimes people ask questions to see if people will agree with them, as opposed to asking questions for like that feedback, right? And when I say people, I'm talking about myself, right? I'll do that thing where I'll ask people questions and I want them to agree with me, right? So take some time and figure out, what do you want to do, right? And however much time you need to, like, maybe you're grieving the relationship or you're preparing for something else, however much time you need, that's fine, right? Keep that in mind. Morgan, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you so much. Rob said, Rob says leave. That's it. And look, Rob, for a lot of people, they'll choose to leave and just be over with it, and that's a perfectly that's okay, right? If that's what you wanted to do and you process the situation and you decided to dip, that's fine, right? Once again, I don't want people to think that you have to forgive and stay. I think that's one of the biggest. That's probably, in my opinion, the biggest misconception about forgiveness. People think that, oh, if I forgive, I have to stay. In my opinion, you don't have to stay if you forgive, right? So I hope that's helpful. Robin says forgiveness is for. This blew my mind, Robin. Forgiveness for you to give yourself. Oh, I have never. I was today years old when I gotta give Robin the first love of the show. I love that. I've never seen that. Why am I just now seeing this? For you to give yourself. I like that. I'm gonna. I'll steal that. I'll give you credit, Robin. I appreciate that. Thank you. I went through this in 2016. It was awful. We did reconcile, but had PTSD from it. Sorry to hear that. Things are thankfully so much better now. Yeah, look, from a professional perspective, I've seen couples who, like, infidelity has happened and the relationship has gotten better, right? Now, I'm not saying I don't want anybody to watch this and say, okay, Kojo was talking about somebody cheated in a relationship and got better. Don't do that to prove a point. Like, I'm just saying that I've seen people where this has happened, and I mean, even like, you can have a partner could betray you financially, right? It doesn't have to be cheating in the sense that we think it is, right? Um, One thing my friend told me a while ago, I'll never forget, is if they wanted to cheat, they will find a way no matter how much you try to prevent it. You can't really let it change how you live in future relationships. In my opinion, the best way to do it is to take time to heal before jumping into something. All right, so Lauren, I gotta give you also a love of the show. So I crap myself up when I do that, but I this is such a I mean, we could have a whole live on this right here. I think that sometimes after a relationship, the best thing to do is to take some time. And when I say take some time, like make the time worth it. Don't just take some time off and say, "Oh, I'm taking." No, like work on yourself, right? If you can get professional help, cool. If you don't have the access to resources, talk. If you can hang out with friends, people who love you, people who can give you a good environment for you to become, the next version of yourself, right? But taking some time out to just, like recalibrate and figure out what you want to do, it's so helpful because let's say you get cheated on and you're single for 5 years, right? Let's say you're single for 5 years, but in that 5 year span, you're not really like taking the time out to like work on yourself, right? Like you're not getting professional help, you're not letting family members like pour into you or friends pour into you, right? You're just kind of like doing whatever, right? And you're just kind of like getting in and out to different situationships and here and there and left and right. I'm not saying that that's wrong or right, right? I'm not saying that this is right or that's wrong. But if you've been doing that for the past 5 years and that's the last time you had a relationship, and then let's say you meet somebody in December of this year, right? And you want to date that person, and you want to have one of those lifetime Christmas, romantic stories, right? You might get to the point where you meet somebody that you really want to pursue and somebody that you want to get to know, but you're like emotionally tapped out. You're emotionally tapped out where like you have nothing to give. And I've seen this many times in the profession. I've been in this situation many times personally myself, right? Where you're trying to talk to somebody, but you're emotionally tapped out, right? Because you haven't taken the time to like this, like it's like your phone, like this phone right here, like it's on what 37%. I gotta charge. I'm charging the phone right now, but if I don't take the time out to charge the phone, I'm gonna get to the point where I go somewhere, I need the phone is on 2%, right? And then we know what happens. You ask somebody for a portable charger, and they don't have it, and you just have to like leave the vet early, whatever. Like that. That's me all the time, right? It's like an ADHD thing, but you know, um, either way, you want to make sure that you take some time to like make like that's how a lot of people are. Like you have the term emotionally unavailable. Sometimes you get to that point. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you get to that point because you haven't taken the time to like gas up. Like cars need gas. You haven't taken the time to like refuel yourself. So just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. Carter says, "Hey, just a friendly reminder: if y'all are like, it's never a bad time to charge your phone. Just letting y'all know, never a bad time to charge your phone. You don't go looking for love and finds you. You have to learn to love yourself before you." Carrie, I like this. I like this. I've been single for 6 years. Of my difference. I've cheated. I've been cheated on and even got played one time. AJ, I'm very sorry to hear that. And moving forward, like, I think it's important to, if we can detach like the notion of like that person is going to be every, like sometimes one thing happened to you by like like whoever you're dating, and you might think that, oh, like everybody will do me like this, and they may not, or they might could, but to try and like let let the situation at least play out, right? Let's say you're talking to somebody else, but it's tough when these things happen, right? Like I said, these things, in my opinion, I would say it's traumatic. Like you have to like learn how to like trust all over again. Kind of like a kid. Like kids just trust. Everybody's your friend when you're a kid, and then you become an adult, and you're like, that person's a snake. That person's fake. But when you're a kid, you just trust, right? So when you're an adult, it takes a while to like have like to give parts of yourself all over again. It can be quite difficult. So I'm saying BPD dealing with cheating partners. So Emily, whether you have borderline personality disorder or whether like you don't have it, dealing with a cheating partner, it's still like all these tips, still apply. Like I said, number one, understand that their actions are not a reflection of who you are. Number two, take time to know what you want to do, right? It's the same thing, right? Because like my advice is for anybody who's been cheated on, not for people with borderline personality disorder who've been cheated on. But if you have BPD and you've been cheated on, and you take some time to pause and figure out what you want to do, it could help you if you struggle with impulsive decisions, right? And maybe you say things that like after you say it, you're like, I wish I could take those words back, right? So even though this is general advice, I feel like it can help out anybody, Emily. So hopefully these answers are helpful for you. And Daniel says water break. Daniel, almost a water break, right? And when it's time for the water break, I'll need somebody to put in the magic number, but I mean the magic word, not the magic number. But before we get there, let me get to my third tip. My third tip, and Alex is saying, I need some of these people with all these amazing comments in my life for emotional support, the positivity that's Alex. So before I get to the third tip, real quick. So I mean, I want my, I want my online platform to be like the happiest place on the internet, right? And not everybody will agree, right? But I want this to be a safe space to where you can come with an opinion and you can be like somebody above you in the comment section can think completely different from you, but we all respect each other, we love each other, and like we work to lift each other up out here, right? Because the world could be a negative place, so it's not difficult to find like negative energy, right? But it's hard to find positive energy. So that's my goal with this platform. But yeah, we'll be making a Facebook group soon, so hopefully people can get more of that online community. So Alex, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And my third tip, if you've gone through a situation where somebody's cheated on you, right here, very, very important. And we did allude to this earlier, but let me say it again. You cannot prevent this from happening in the future, but you can always take care of yourself, right? And I've seen it to where, let's say somebody gets cheated on or somebody gets played, and then you take that trauma from that relationship, situationship, or whatever happened, whatever it was, marriage, or and you take that to the next relationship, right? So now you're taking this trauma from 2018 and you're bringing it to the situation in 2022, 2023, right? And you're trying to like prevent your relationship or marriage from cheating. You cannot prevent, like, you cannot ensure that somebody will never cheat on you. You can't do that. It's just impossible, right? You can't divorce proof your marriage, right? Like we have all the statistics of people who do this and that and are not there's a much lower chance that they'll divorce, right? But like how do we know for sure? There's always a risk like that bad things can happen, right? Like if you like to go for love, right? To shoot, to swing for the fences and to go for love means that you could strike out, right? You could go get the wrong person, you could be cheated on, bad things can happen, right? But I don't want to focus on that part, right? Now that's the wacky thing about trauma, right? Trauma like it has this like trauma is like a bad fart. It's a bad example, but it's like a bad fart that you try and like you let one rip and you hope people don't smell it, and then people keep smelling it because you ain't go to like a corner, right? But trauma has that like stench, like it tends to kind of like stick and like attach to you, So like that's why you'll be 10 years removed from a situation and you're wondering why like you still feel sad about something that happened to you or something that happened to somebody that you loved, right? Like trauma tends to do that where it's really difficult to live your life without sometimes letting the past like influence you too much in the future, right? So that's what I want you all to do. Keep that in mind. You cannot prevent somebody from cheating. Some people can cheat, people can come, people can go, right? But what we can do, that last part right there, you can take care of yourself. I think that's so important. You can put yourself in positions to where you feel empowered, right? Now, somebody can still like cheat, but then you can say, hey, you know what? Like, you did what you did, but I know that what you did is not a reflection of who I am as a person. I'm going to forgive you. And I understand that I don't have to stay if I don't want to. And, I'm going to leave, right? Or I'm going to stay, whatever you want to do. But understand that, like, you can control yourself, right? So if you realize that, oh, these situations are not good for my mental health, and like anytime like this happens to me, I tend to spiral, right? Then should that happen to you, instead of staying around and trying to like work it out, you might leave. Like, and you can even tell the person, like, hey, like, I've been through this in the past, and like, hey, if this happens to me, this is like where everybody draws a line somewhere, right? Everybody draws a line somewhere. Even your favorite, Hollywood couple who, like whoever's relationship goes now. I'm not even sure. I thought it was Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, right? And then they broke up. So I'm like, I don't know who relationship goals is now. I don't keep up with the Shade Room or whoever posts that information, but whoever his relationship goals, um, even that couple, everybody in that relationship will draw a line somewhere, right? So it's important to understand that you can control yourself, right? So that's a happy fact, right? Knowing that people can do things and betray me, but at the end of the day, I have myself, and I have that autonomy, I have that control, and if I want to leave, I can leave. If I want to stay, I can stay. I think that's a beautiful thing, right? The past makes you ready for the future. Okay, okay. I think it's a misconception that BB. All right, so right, Steph, we have to make sure that, yeah. I mean, on this platform, I mean, I'll do my best to, like, make sure that that's like stated, but we can't generalize and say everybody with borderline disorder or everybody with ADHD or everybody with OCD. Like, it's a very slippery slope when you do that. And I have to find out Beyonce. Oh, I like the fact they put allegedly, because I don't know what the truth. I don't know Beyonce, right? That really solidified me. It doesn't matter how beautiful or successful you are, someone going to cheat. Right. So once again, I don't know the situation with Beyonce and Jay-Z, but like, cheating, it has more to do with the person who does the cheating as opposed to the person who's cheated on. Right. Now, I do want to add that part in there. Like, cheating says more about the person who cheated as opposed to the person who was cheated on. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. Because it's just an awful feeling to feel as if somebody, like, you know did not have the like the decency to like give you a heads up, right, or leave, and they just decide to take things into their own hands, right? Thank you so much for this. It helps me more traumas and to look for more happiness. Amy, I appreciate that comment, and yeah, I mean, I still believe that there's a lot of positive in this world, right? But I'm not naive, right? So I don't, subscribe to the notion that everybody's gonna like be happy for you. Everybody's gonna like look out for you, or everybody wants your best, has your best interest in mind. But there are people who are good out there, right? Whether it's a relationship or whether it's a friendship, or like, there are people who want to support you, and people who have that genuine like kindness, and like, they do have your best interest in mind, right? Like, I do believe that, right? Now you might live in Nevada, and then your tribe is like in Arizona and like in Washington and Florida. It could be friends on the internet, but I do think that there's people out there who want to see you win, right? So regardless of whatever has happened, I don't want people feeling like, all hope is gone, right? All right. And uh time for the water break. Somebody dropped the magic word in there. Um I always say, if you want to cheat on me, please break up with me first. All right, Lauren, I'll keep that in mind. If we date, I'll break up with you first. I'm kidding, but Lauren, like, we joke about it, but I think it's a communication thing, right? Now, a lot of people will say things like this, but there's a reason why people don't like say, hey, like, let's break up, and then you get with whoever you want to get with, and then you get back with you, because it's tough. Like, and sometimes that person who did the cheating, like, they're processing things on their own too. Like, you never know what's going on in somebody's head. That's why I say always be kind. You never know what's going on, with somebody's mental health, and that's not like that doesn't condone like any action, cheating or whatever the case is. I'm just saying that, like, if it was as easy as this, everybody would break up and then cheat. But it's not that easy, right? So it everybody has work to do, right? Men and women, and however somebody identifies. If we all focus on making ourselves like a little bit better day by day, we'd have fewer problems, right? We're always going to have these problems, right? And without problems, you wouldn't have like me, right? You wouldn't have people in a field to help out other people. So we want to get a little bit better uh, every day. Hey, there we go. Cheers. Hey, cheers. All right. So if y'all have any type of beverage, if you're new to this show, you need to like have I like water, but whatever you're drinking, if it's something that's not kid appropriate, don't comment it, but just go ahead and sip on it wherever you're at. Dealing with the loss of being cheated on doesn't have a timeline. Finding self love isn't easy, but most important. Dale, that was very well said. Spoken like a true poet. That's dope. Megan, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And for those of y'all who like the ADHD content, I'm not gonna get into promotion mode, but I have a very exciting series coming out next month on ADHD, and we also have a free ADHD accountability app, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But the app is free. I'm gonna download it, and like I would love for y'all to, let's work together and be a little bit more productive. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Sean, thank you so much. I appreciate you, my guy. Today's been a day, but it's been a good day. It started off a little bit rough, at the gym, but it's been a good day. Isn't bro? Yeah, Jeremy. You can only control ourselves, right? Everett, appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, so T- Tia, you might be coming in late, but let me go ahead and drop all of the three tips all in one, so we can recap. And Vaporland, thank you so much. The YouTube community is growing, so I really appreciate all the people who are on YouTube as well. I know we have a lot more on Facebook, but thank you to everybody who's been following and supporting on YouTube. It means a lot to me. Like I have not forgotten about y'all, so thank you so much. All right, and your Asian videos helped me and my 13-year-old kid. They were showing a lot. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anytime like I try to convince my mom that like I'm doing real work on the internet, I'll just take one of these comments and send it to her. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I'll keep the ADHD content coming, and hopefully it helps out more and more people. Uh, Victory, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, so uh, this is a recap of everything. I understand that if somebody cheated on you or betrayed you, or you can even take this any type of betrayal, financial betrayal, a friend who stabbed you in the back, or a business deal that didn't go through, and you feel like you were wrong by the situation, a boss who wrongfully fired, anything, right? Of course, we're talking about somebody cheating on you tonight, but anything in general, right? Like we could use these tips. Number one, understand that their actions are not a reflection of who you are. Number two, take time to know what you want to do, right? Like what you want to do is still the most important thing, And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you've made a decision that you're proud of, right? And number three, you cannot prevent this in the future, but you can always take care of yourself, right? So, like the first part sucks, right? Like you can't, if there's a button you could press, like if there's a button I could press right now that, you know, no woman would ever cheat on me or something, and that I would have like no issues. I would press the button today and get married tomorrow, right? Like obviously, like if you could do that, but life doesn't work that way, right? So and that's fine. Like the way things are is fine. Like it's gonna teach us to work on ourselves. And obviously, if we could live in a perfect world, we would, but we can't, right? So it's gonna teach us to work on ourselves and to understand that at the end of the day, we still control a lot because like we can put ourselves in certain situations. We can leave if it's too much for us. If you find yourself in a situation where it reminds you too much of something that happened years past, you're like, hey, I'm about to dip. Like I'm not gonna re-expose myself to something that appears to be just as traumatic as what I went through, right? So we do control ourselves. And ever, yes, I don't condone cheating at all, right? I don't know at what point in this live you hopped in, but I want to make that clear. I want to make that clear. Let me see. If you have to convince your moms that this, yeah, Lauren, she gets it. I think when she saw me on TV on ABC with a weekly segment, she said, "Oh, okay, that's what it is, right?" But initially, when I first moved to LA, she would say, "Hey, like, you need me to like pay rent for you or something like that." I'm like, Mom, like, no, I'm okay. Like, if anything, I need like a good home cooked meal. Like I need some food. I don't want to be eating Waba Grill and DoorDash every day. Like I could use a home cooked meal, but that's besides the point. Let me not get off topic, right? But yeah, I enjoy this, right? And I said I was gonna go live Wednesday night, and shout out to Leilani. She messaged me, and I thought I had posted that I was gonna do a late show, but I didn't post it. Let me get this question real quick. Dale says, "What about when they have past traumas and untreated therapy, correct medication? they do things in impulse and they claim they don't know why. Really good question that I'm going to answer for you here, right? So here's the thing: when they have past traumas and untreated, i.e., therapy, correct medication. So, you know, Danielle, you have to keep in mind that, like, if you're dating this person, you're not their therapist, right? It's not your job to be their therapist. You're not their social worker. You're not their psychiatrist. You're not their provider. You're their partner. So it's not up to you to like treat their traumas, right? Your job is to support them as they go through the difficult process of having to like confront their past and like go through all that traumatic work. That's your job, right? But it's not our job. Even me, as Dr. Kojo, it's not my job to like if I'm dating somebody, it's not my job to like be you know trying to try out cognitive behavioral therapy. Of course, like I think I'm a fairly empathetic person, right? But like it's not my job. Like if I'm dating somebody, I'm not Dr. Kojo online. Like it's my job just to be your partner. Like I just want to be like your boyfriend. Like I'm not gonna be doing all that stuff. Like you gotta go find like your own therapist and work through stuff on your own, right? I think that's too much for one person to take on. So you know, and look, you mentioned correct medication, right? Like you as their partner, you can't be well, you can, but you don't want to be adjusting their medications. Like, that's why the professionals are there. So, if they do things on impulse and they claim they don't know why, maybe they might be impulsive and maybe they're not sure what's behind the impulsivity, right? But that's why, I would say that, you have your local healthcare provider whoever prescribed the medication first, like that person will follow up and say, oh, we need to adjust this, we need to go up, go down, add this, add that, take this off. Whoever's a therapist will say, okay, let's explore this. Let's talk a little bit more about this. So sometimes I think that we, and I've made a mistake many times where sometimes you think that you are, and this is this is like when I was in undergrad, like I could be dating a girl and I sometimes thought that like I was like responsible for like her like well being, and I realized I'm like hold up, like no, I'm 21. I'm trying to take care of myself. I don't know how this whole thing works, right? So when you look at it from that angle, then then it becomes much more simple, right? Because if you thought that okay, you have to do it all, then it becomes like a big like burden, and then sometimes you can get like burnt out from dating this person who requires you to do so much. But then you realize that all I gotta do is support, right? Like I just have to be a cheerleader and like encourage them to like if it's professional help that they need, encourage them, and maybe you can say, "Oh, I went to therapy, or I did this, and it was helpful for me," right? So that way you're not like talking down to them, So that could be helpful. They have to thank you. They have to choose to seek the help that hurts others, and yeah, right. And like for me, this is where I kind of struggle when it comes to making videos because I like videos that have a happy ending, right? Like I like videos where like you're dancing in a psych hospital and the patient gets discharged, or like I like the happy ending videos, but a lot of times like it's not as happy as like the videos make it seem. Like sometimes you have to like sometimes you gotta be willing to walk away. Like and that might be the only way to enforce the boundary, right? And that's not a viral video that has 4 million views on Facebook or Instagram. That's just the truth, right? So sometimes it does become difficult, right? But at the end of the day, like even if you do have to make a difficult decision to walk away, like at least you have your pride, right? Like you feel better, like okay, like I didn't betray myself, right? That's a good feeling. I want y'all to be walking with your your chest out, and like I want y'all to be walking like um you know like you mean business, right? Like somebody can still play you, but you have to work hard to play me, right? Oh boy. All right. Oh, Mickey Piggy been 45 minutes. Okay. All right. All right. I gotta get off here, y'all. But this has been awesome. And I gotta look at my schedule and make sure that I can come on live tomorrow night. But this has been awesome. I'm sorry that today's Wednesday and I'm just now getting to hop uh, on on live for y'all. I saw this comment here and it caught my attention. I'm glad someone's talking about this. Up to 50% people have affairs over the course of a lifetime. I I don't have any evidence to back this up, so I don't know if it's true. If it's true, then it's an eye popping statistic, but I don't know. So I'm actually curious about this. I might go into like a deep dive and look into this and watch some videos and try to find an article that supports something like this. But yeah, so yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow once again. But yeah, thank you so much for those who are watching. I know it's almost no, it's 2 o'clock on the East Coast for those people who are joining from the Michigans and the Georgias and the Floridas of the world. So and it's even 11 o'clock here in California. So thank you once again for your attention. I really appreciate you all. I hope the content is helpful. And I'm going to do my best to keep making these videos for you all. And, I appreciate the attention that y'all give me. It does mean a lot. So once again, take care and have a good night. Try and get some rest, and I'll do my best to follow my own advice.